need to. How's that weather up there in the Boston area?
Uh, I actually have no idea what it's like in Boston. That's like a good 2 hours east of me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
That's right.
right around here, Springfield, which is like the major city that I'm near, is coming up to like 96, 99.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been great looking at the weather lately because not only are the highs higher than usual, but like the lows are higher than usual. That's been fun.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, Texas has been like, I think I heard the UK has had like record-breaking heat. I think they like
Yep.
actually got to like 106 or something. So it's like it's like the new Texas is over there. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I don't know if this
a
is
little bit
like
dire.
global warming or if this is just the Earth's natural like cycle of what it does. I don't know. Maybe a combination of it all. Who knows?
A
What's your
lot of people know.
wait? What'd you say?
I said, I don't know,
Oh yeah. Let me
not a
see.
good time, but
Yeah.
like that's what we get for overheating an engine is essentially the thought, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
the thing is gonna do what you do, but if you overdrive certain elements too much too fast without the right amount of maintenance, it's gonna overheat.
It's like throwing fucking isotope trash on your master and max gain. Essentially, what we're doing to the world.
And then not bothering to fix your mix.
Yeah, yeah. Fix your fucking mix, people. Man, so my stepsister, I just saw a message from her. So I've been debating on like getting a house with property and stuff and or just living because I don't know if you know, I bought a truck camper a couple years ago, and I'm not staying in it right now because my truck's airbags, one of them popped, and it's just really hard on my
Oops.
truck's transmission. Even though I like living in it and the mobility, so what I'm doing is reason I did that is because I calculated I spent $64,000 living in Austin for 4 years, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, if I had 64 grand, like I'd be set, right? Like I could have invested that in so many things. So anyway, I was like, let me just be homeless, and so I bought a truck camper, and it was going good until my truck started taking a punishment, and I need a beefier truck. I need like a F-250, and so luckily I just live at work and nobody cares, and it's cool. So basically I'm living rent free, but
Manageable.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the AC I forget what the hell I'm talking about this. What was that? Oh, my stepsister. I was like, should I buy a house? And some of my friends and family are like, when are you going to be a responsible adult and buy a house? And I was like, cuz it's a commitment that sticks you to that area, and I'm sort of non-commit. I like the freedom that my lifestyle offers, right? I can up and go whenever I please, and there's no monthly mortgage that I have to owe, right? And so anyway, that's pretty neat. And my stepsister was talking about how her electric bill has percentage-wise has increased by 40% this year. And I was like, holy shit. She was just complaining online about how much money goes into her electric bill, and I think she threw a number out there. I don't know if I misread it, but I think she said somewhere like $300-$400 a month for electricity or something. And I was
Yeah,
like,
that sounds about
"Oh,
right.
that's insane, man! That's freaking insane." So
Energy prices are up.
yeah,
That's what happens.
yeah. Especially this whole Ukraine war. I don't know if that's contributing to it, but I feel like
It's
maybe it
part of
is.
the upward trend, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, oh,
Like
dude.
so,
Oh, what's up?
property wise, like
Yeah.
the situation that I've been in is that originally I was an only child of a two-parent household, two
Mm-hmm.
professional parents, programmers. So like that was it's pretty sweet first 10 years of my life there.
Yeah.
And then my father's previous marriage had two children, and then they came to live with us. So that was all of a sudden I had siblings, and then it was five of us in the house, and then my parents had a separation. It was a whole big thing, but I was back when I was like 14, so
Mm.
it's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
dad moved to Florida, kids moved to Delaware, and then me and mom were living together in an apartment. And this was pretty okay for pretty much most of the time. And then the 2008 recession happened, and this actually was an opportunity for us because this meant that property prices just destroyed themselves.
Yeah.
And that meant that we have the house we have. Like we live in a house that I've been living in since 2010.
Nice.
And what I have noted pretty much since then, and having had that experience of when I was part of the 2-parent household and sort of experienced the quote unquote adult life there of being like that was basically like the old 90s vision of like, yeah, success, good job. But for my parents who were I want to point out my parents were born in the 50s.
Oh, okay.
They were fairly old when they had me, so like that's why they were they were advanced adults.
Yeah.
And by the time I came around, but I saw that as that was what that meant. And then by the time I got anywhere near it, like to vision, like for myself as an adult, I knew that was just like not physically possible.
Huh.
That like the modern economy doesn't really sustain that as a planned trajectory, especially not for individuals. Like, concerted efforts for families, dual incomes and combinations and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like having kids kind of like makes that less and less likely. But basically, since then, me and mom have had the deal of being that like I'm not ever gonna let her live in like a home. Like she'll live here forever.
Yeah.
And then I also will live here forever because I don't really think it'll be possible for me to get an asset that's this valuable. Like just unless the market crashes again, which like it's a little bit crappy for me personally to feel this way, but that's kind of what I've been looking at when I see the fluctuations happen.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone starts talking about like, oh, this is going to go down again, I'm like, hey, well, the last time that happened, that was kind of the only way we got this house.
Yeah, it's like those events are kind of like a I was trying to think of like a celestial event that occurs once in blue moon. Blue moon. But there's my analogy in itself. Right.
It's about as much as you can't really plan for it either. Is sort of the other part.
Yeah.
Like,
it's kind of like it's just kind of like luck of the draw, good timing, right time, right place, and also do you have your finances, kind of able to
how well prepared. And to like my mom's credit, this was possible because she had like nearly flawless credit coming up on the 2008 crisis, which made her hilariously valuable to banks.
Nice.
And we have a stupidly good mortgage on this house fixed, and it'll stay that way. And like it'll just be very hard for a better deal to ever show up.
That's good, man. At least you got some good stability there,
It was wacky. Like none of this could have been planned. Like none of this was part of like like the what I meant like the old prescribed method of success. It was just like if I had actually gone and done that, like none of that would have actually contributed.
Yeah. You are what they call blessed.
Extremely.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
That's awesome, man. Good to hear. Cause life is a motherfucker. If you like, dude, I realized like how okay, so I remember when I did the interview with you were talking about how you don't want to have kids or anything, and I'm kind of like in a weird, I don't know if I will have kids either myself. I'm just really more interested in kind of doing what I want to do, and if kids come along at some point, that's fine, but I'm not dating or anything. I'm just really focused on me, and for the next several years. So me too, if I am a parent, I'm going to be like an old parent because I'll be 37 this year, which is fine because I feel like I'll have more stability and financial resources and kind of whatnot.
I feel like that's ideal. I mean, I'm biased since I'm literally a product of that particular environment.
Yeah.
And like, fine,
Yeah. But shit. What was I gonna say? Yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't know. Life's kind of like experimental in that way. It's like you get to choose whatever path you want to go route, and I was just like, oh, I don't have to. So I got to have a 10-year relationship, and it was like went really sour towards the end, and I was just like, you know what, man, like. I was like, I'm fine being single. Like, relationships can really, I'm fine waiting for the right woman to come into my life. I don't need to.
Right.
Like,
the things that you think are required.
Yeah.
Are not necessarily all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So, And anyway, so yeah, there's another point. Anyway, yeah, the whole like housing thing. I'm not stressing myself out too much. I'm just kind of like I'm kind of going like I've been watching a lot of like spiritual videos and stuff, and they're like, it seems like one of the biggest messages is make your life as joyful as possible and reduce stress and just make your being as pleasant as possible, and I've tried to be less hedonistic in my life and more like like empathetic and compassionate and like real with people. And so like I'll say this, one of the interesting things, right, is I haven't been pursuing any relationships, and I kind of have found a weird spot in my life where when I interact with women, I used to be like, like, hey, I'm trying to pursue you as a relationship. And now I'm just kind of like, neutral, because that's not what I want right now. And I've actually been told by women who are trying to pursue a relationship with me or some sort of just even a fling or something. They're like, they're like, they're like, you're not like a lot of guys. And I was like, yeah, because I think most guys just kind of run on trying to get laid mentality, but it kind of, man, I could go so deep into this, but I was talking to this one chick for a while, and she was like, it was just she wanted like a fling thing, but came to find out she really wanted something much more. And I was like, there's fine print under this friends with benefits relationship thing, So, man, relationships are fucking complicated. Long story short, I'm just trying to simplify my life and enjoy it for what I can, and just make me better me, and maybe somewhere in the future I'll find a good woman to put in my life. So we'll see. Who knows? Anyway, I'm not too worried about it.
I'm about the stress message. Like that's definitely one thing that's pretty literal in terms of health benefits.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure.
For one thing though, one thing I have like because part of the philosophy around avoiding stress can sometimes feel like you also have to do some like toxic positivity angle on attempting to overdo it and like almost delude yourself into thinking some things and feeling some things as happy.
Yeah.
And that I think can be a little destructive. And what I try to do is try to be okay with stuff, which is not the same thing as recognizing it as good or bad. And it's also not avoiding recognizing it as good or bad, because that's also a different kind of problem that can become more stress. Like you do the avoidance long enough and then it comes back bigger than if you had just not avoided it.
Yeah, it's like weeds in your garden, you gotta tend to them and stuff. Yeah, it's funny, man.
It comes down to this, like how I have acquired sort of like my technical musical skills, even because part of that like journey is particularly stressful, just to acquire nitty gritty stuff and to practice and to actually do it, the grind of things, and to not stress about like failure is a huge one, because that can be pretty discouraging. And
hell yeah, man.
Part of getting around it is like I'm always telling people not to get images in their mind of impossible goals. Like I was saying about the how like the 90s vision of success is just like that's just not economically feasible. Like we broke the world doing it. Not a good time.
Yeah.
And same thing with an imagination of like you think of like, oh, I'm doing this pendulum track, like oh gosh, Rob Swire, those guys, like they must all be like wizened super gods and knowing everything about everything, and they can't do anything without knowing what they're doing. Like meanwhile, like I remember some tweet Rob Swire made to forget who, Kill the Noise maybe, about like a track he did just being bewildered by some FM sound. And I remember seeing that and being like, oh my god, they're people. Shit, they don't know things. What?
Yeah.
And because my idea of like what my goal should be about like how I should be as a producer was impossible. Was not, and so like I'm always gonna fail. It's always gonna be stressful if like I imagined that to have been true. But I gotta be real about what the world is, because to not imagine that everybody's got to have this like stellar galactic brain power all the time.
Yeah.
Damn, they're famous musicians, guys. Remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Like expectations can definitely unhinge a person, you know, if they let it get out of control with stress. And I've been there too myself. Like I was like, been doing this music thing for a long time, and I was like, why am I not where I want to be? And I had to shift my mental framework to let me just enjoy the process of what I do, and instead of worrying about the destination, let me enjoy the ride instead, you know. And it's been, yeah, it's helped me out tremendously because I've gotten a lot better, and I feel like I come from a more relaxed place, and I can just like talk to people a lot more naturally, and just like, oh hey, yeah, this, and it's going pretty good. It's going pretty well. So cortisol levels at an all-time low. But yeah, man. Let me show you this track. So, this whole video is about to turn into like a self therapy, how to manage stress. We should do that one day, like a stress management podcast for like music producers, you know.
Yeah, there you go. Like, how to cope with your day.
How to cope.
Is your snare cracking hard enough in your soul?
Exactly right.
Separate the lows from your highs. Am I talking about EQing or am I talking about emotions? You don't know.
You should do like a retreat. It's like spend a 5-day retreat with Seamless, practice yoga, and learn about breathing techniques, all while EQing your snare at the same time, and find inner fulfillment and peace.
God. Get brought on tangents you would never believe.
But imagine
come for a 1-day retreat and stay for a month.
Try all kinds of strange psychedelics you've never heard of before. Oh my god. Oh, that'd be some funny shit right there. But like turn up the notch, just like do like a 180 on them and like get real intense on them. Like, why is your snare not perfect? And they're like, I thought this was supposed
to go full Sparta all of a sudden. Just like, this is not weak.
Like, I thought this was supposed to be relaxing. No, fool, you signed up with Seamless. And they just like totally
you will be dope or you will die.
And then put them through some like crazy trials and shit where it's like a Survivor or something. You're like, all right, you must cross this river.
It's like My Hero Academia all of a sudden. It's like, we're here to learn how to DJ. It's like, you will spin through the death wheel. And it's like, what?
Yeah, for real, dude. Like, it's like,
do it like it's like some terrifying like physical like American Ninja Warrior shit. They get to the other side and they just like are better DJs for some reason. Yeah. For no reason at all.
Oh, dude, that would be fucking hilarious. That would almost be like. And then totally flip the script on them, like air it as a TV show and be like, 5 contestants from across the U.S. unknowingly get sent to Seamless's boot camp, but they thought it was an emotional healing music camp. Who will survive? You know? Oh,
so all right. Now you've given me this idea, and this is gone too far, but here it comes. So like the way that I would like. You just do that. You just advertise like, oh, here it's like me. I'm doing a music camp. Let's do it. And then just see how long people put up with it. Like how far they go before they realize like what's happening to them. And like at first it's all normal. It's like, oh, you're doing lessons and shit. And the next day it's like, okay, here, like we're gonna do a challenge. We're gonna go outside and like do the sun and some shit.
They'd be like, Seamless has a wild hair up his ass or something. Then they'd be like, what's going on?
And then like on like the 4th day, they wake up. And like all their computers are gone, and they're like, "What?" And like I show up, and it's like, "Okay, guys, make some saw waves," and they're like, "What?" And like you go outside, and there's like I put all their gear into trees, and then I climb up and get it, and like Mulan style, like with the fucking like the climber. I don't even know what the hell they call those, the big coins that they wrap the fabric around, and like that. Then it's like a few of them would be like, oh, and they get it, and then the rest of them are just kind of like, I guess I'm doing this now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like how.
And then like week 4, it's like, you know, now there's like fire pits and spikes and like live ammunition.
Oh, dude, that would be freaking hilarious, man. That would be like, honestly, it's like a mixture of like cruel and unusual. Like, man, okay, so they did this test. I read about it. I don't know where or when, but I heard about this test that was carried out. These people uh, got all together and they got put in a jail. And what they did was
the Stanford prison experiments.
yeah. And they said that the people who were like the cops versus the prisoners started taking on that role and really like mistreating them, and like they like everyone assumed the role and just like went fucking bonkers, and they forgot it was an experiment and it like became their reality, you know. And so like what you're talking. Oh, go ahead.
Just to clarify about what actually happened in there, like it was they were actors. Nobody actually got shocked, but what they did was they had the prisoners who were hired actors act like they were getting shocked.
Oh.
And convince people who did not know that they were actors that they were shocking them.
Oh, okay.
So like they were guards and they had the option to or to not shock them, and then when they would be convinced that they were shocking them, and then they got really really into it. That was the fucked part.
Oh, okay.
And but like the prisoners were not real; they were actors, and the people who were doing the experiment, like this was a case that made like informed consent a thing.
Yeah.
Because the guards and people did not know that they were not being shocked. They thought they were shocking them. It was a whole fucking thing.
So what we should do is incorporate in that. You would have like somebody outside, like doing some really fucked, like have like actors in your thing where it just absolutely terrifies the people who signed up for the.
Right. Oh yeah. You know what? You just did it right there. Okay. It's like here's like. We have these 3 prisoners. It's like if your mix is not perfect, they're gonna die. It's like you get your lows in order. And then they act like there's a low and a mid and a high, and like how good they are. It's like, and it's the whole fucking thing. And then I'm imagining like whoever actually goes through like enough of this, if they decide to go to the actual music industry, like nothing would faze them for the rest of their life.
Oh, dude, they'd be 100% prepared.
They would be like the most ridiculously hardcore person, and nothing, like everyone would just be scared of them.
Exactly, dude. They'd look at it like, I served at Seamless's camp.
Right? It's like you played at shows. I played on the battlefield.
On the battlefield. At the end, there's like an award ceremony. You're like, I dubbed the survived Seamless's boot camp. And then you just like at the very end, you like disappear in like a fucking smoke bomb explosion. You're like, till next time, poof.
It's like, was that even real?
Oh my god, that would be some funny ass shit. That really needs to. That really needs to happen one of these days. That would be so fucking hilarious. Oh man, but
I love me that fucking Food Wars anime. Like that crap is just the funniest to me. Like. Just completely inane, over the top, like life-threatening competition for just nothing.
Yeah,
and it's just so good, and like it makes more sense for the food thing because chefs are actually like that in real life. But like, musical people though, like I came up doing hip hop, right? Like that was my first sort of beat experience. Like that's how I learned how to do producing, and like. They were the most like internally aggressive and competitive genre of people I've ever interacted with. In terms of like producers.
Yeah.
Nobody else like had that personal like combat fire. Most of the time, everyone else, if I came at them, they're all like, "Oh no, let's do it, bro! I'll totally share. It'll be great and amazing."
Yeah.
And like, meanwhile, I'm expecting like, "No, I'm the best. I'm number one. I'm gonna kick your ass." Like, that's like 100. But like. What's like that's just the way that they do that, Jenk, and that's fine. But like I was very surprised by how little like the rest of music isn't really like that. And so like there being this kind of like incredibly hardcore competition, but for like Future Bass or something would be fucking.
Oh,
hysterical.
dude, that would be freaking hilarious. Okay,
like,
so
let's get the plur guys get up there and like lose a limb or two, like that'd be great.
Exactly. We and then people are like, "Oh shit, this is really serious. He's not fucking around." You see some guy get life flighted off the island or something.
Right, like that's see if you were doing the Stanford thing, that's what we'd do. We'd hire actors to be the ones who like lose horribly, so that they all think they could lose horribly.
It's like this literally sounds like a mix of Joe Rogan and like Mortal Kombat. It's like you're like Shaolin or whatever. Like you're like fool. your mix is mine or some shit like that.
See, here's the bummer for me is that like every time I think about these kick ass like, because I've always wanted to see like a chopped, but like for music, where people show up and it's like here's your sample packs, here's your shit, like go ham. It's like, but like also here's like a room full of nonsense you can Foley up, and here's like the big like 70s mixing compressor board that no one knows how to use.
Yeah.
Like, can you use tape? Have fun. Like that kind of shit. Like that sort of obviously busted competition that like no one's gonna make anything good really.
Yeah.
But every time I come up with that, I also just kind of I want to compete. Damn it! Like I want to do that.
Yeah, man, this sounds like a great idea. One day, man, one of these days, it's got to happen. It'd be like Pitch meets Mortal Kombat or something like that. Maybe that's what Pitch is.
Like, I don't think that'd be hard. Like,
Yeah.
I think there could be arrangements of that people would watch.
And the naturally competitive people would figure it out really quick. Like they'd be like, I know what the fuck's going. They'd be like, oh, I know what the fuck's going on.
Right? They sense the shit coming. And,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'll do weird crap. Like, right? Like, so, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, the obviously the not lethal version of what we're talking about, but like the sort of regularly applicable game show type.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta wonder why people haven't done that before. I guess music. I mean, American Idol and whatnot, but like, producers. Actually, I do know why. So we talked about Kanye before, but have you ever thought it was weird that like the thing that people talked about that was newsworthy when he made the news was that he was his own producer.
Mm-hmm.
Like and in like the 2004-ish times, like that era, like that was what they talked about him. It was like, oh, you rap and you make your own stuff. Like that was the thing that was special.
Yeah.
And I thought that was weird as hell. I didn't really get why that's what they pulled about why that was cool. And what I didn't get about it was that was actually still hilariously rare. That the part where that was happening at that time was brand spanking new. Absolute, like, it wasn't really known that could be a thing, is what the point was.
He's very unconventional.
Well, it had just became instantly conventional is the thing. Kind of like when the MP3 happened, it wasn't subtle. It wasn't a long transition. It just happened, and then that was that.
Yeah,
and
we embraced it.
DAWs happened, and then that happened. Producers became real, like instantly.
Yeah.
But that did mean that there wasn't like a chopped wealth of people with experience at chopped level to do chopped shit.
Mm-hmm.
That like this is not chefs 25 years but for producers in 2004. So, but there are now, and it literally has been 20 years. I think actually at this point, like that it's such just a widely available skill set that like that there could be a great British breaking show for this.
Yeah. Excuse me. Oh yeah, man. It's pretty bonkers for sure. Oh,
I think I'm just hungry.
You said you think you're hungry?
I said I think I'm just hungry. Yeah.
Oh, just hungry? Yeah, it might be, man. It might be. I haven't eaten today yet. I was gonna get something, but no, the store's open till. Oh yeah, I was doing out and about errands, and I went to. Damn it! I went somewhere. Where'd I go? I can't remember. It was a burrito place, but they didn't open till 10, and I was like, no! And I was like, I won't make the Seamless stream because I was too far away. And I was like, burritos are Seamless, and I was like, I have obligations here. But anyway, I'll probably go get something later. So, yeah. But, yeah. So, oh man, so something cool. My brother and I were like huge. We've always loved RPGs. Like, we started on the Super Nintendo as little kids, and like that's our favorite genre, right? But I used to play like a lot of Super Bomberman and I like other genres like Metal Gear Solid and stuff like that, but mostly RPGs, and that's where a lot of my music gets inspired. And so we're going to there's a Final Fantasy 7 or not 7, just Final Fantasy in general orchestral concert tonight, and it's like a symphony.
Oh, kick ass.
Yeah, it's gonna play in Houston, and I went to a previous one. It was really good, but my brother was like, I think there was maybe like 12 people on stage playing different instruments. And he was like, this is not that impressive because he's seen it before. And apparently this one's going to have like 30 people a lot more people playing instruments. So it's gonna be like a full-on symphony. So that's gonna be cool. But tying into this, I was like, oh my god! So what I started doing was I wanted to remix the Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, and in a hip hop sort of way, and so I started sampling different tracks from it, right? And this is what I ended up with this. And I was going to see if you could walk me through maybe tightening up the mix and just identifying things that are weak spots in it.
Cool.
Yeah, so let me. Oh, I got to share my screen with you real quick. And so what I was going to say. Oh, I am sharing my screen, I think, right?
You are.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I can see it.
Okay. And
Give me an EQ though.
oh, an EQ. Okay, sure. EQ. All right. So anyway, I was thinking about, because it's tonight, and I was like, it'd be cool if I like went around with a bunch of thumb drives and just handed out, be like, I know you're here for the concert, but I remixed music too, and here you go. It's on the house. Okay, so here we go. This is the rendered WAV file, just to save CPU, and then the project's up here. So I'll play the rendered WAV file for you.
Go for it.
Q. And that's pretty much it right there.
That's pretty swell. I just tried to say swell, swanky, cool, and like all at once. Like so many words came out like swah.
That's for a swah. I'll take it, man. That's your new. That's.
Swole might have been in there. Like there's a lot of S words.
I thought honestly you were. I don't know what you're trying to say, but it sounded like you like choked on a loogie or something. Like that's pretty. It's like, did Seamless just croak on air? No,
I died. And there I go. Yeah, that. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. What I was gonna say, when you do that, like when you're looking at the EQ, like on a post mix like that, you want to just turn the wet dry all the way off, because otherwise it'll mess with your clip-in profile.
Oh, you saying like that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you still get the visual, but it doesn't affect the audio.
Oh, okay. So even if you have a dry EQ like that with no changes, it'll affect the signal.
Yeah. So check it out. Like it was clipping.
Oh, yeah. I noticed because I turned off as soon as I turned off the HQ button, it stopped clipping.
Yeah, that's a product of it having done that. It'll still kind of screw it up anyway. But that's
Really?
why I just turn off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
But like, because it's still doing a bit of process, and just to be as transparent as possible. But like,
Yeah.
it's gonna get screwed up anyway through the compression coming out to me and all. But
Oh, okay.
that's why I need to see the visual, just so I can make sure
Gotcha.
what I was hearing actually existed.
Okay, cool.
So that was pretty neat overall. I was gonna say that there's some neat bits where you do that kind of like future bassy bit where like the volume of the sample is part of like the wob of the moment. And what I would do in moments like that is I would actually put a little envelope controller on it and use it as like a modulator to kind of just subtly move some stuff around, like along with the whatever thing is being that rhythmic.
Okay.
Just to put a deeper hole in the moments when they happen. Because
Let me see if I can kind of narrow in on where you're saying here. So like Go away, family ER. So like, so you're saying on the sample itself?
No. Go play in the render, so I'll just find it for you.
Okay. Oh God, that's loud. Let me turn this down a little bit. You said right there?
In the next section.
Oh, okay.
That bit.
Uh-huh.
Da ba 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 da 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 da. When those things happen, that's what I mean by the rhythmic element.
Okay. I should do what again?
We're gonna put a deeper hole around them.
A deeper hole. Okay.
But the hole is not in the actual sound itself. So like play it, whatever it is, however you're doing it.
Okay. Yeah, it's good.
Cool. So, given the way that I more or less expected that it'd be an element that'd be hard to get the value out of like the notes themselves, so we're gonna do a bit of a trick.
Okay.
Which is to go into the mix and
Right.
find whatever channel it's in.
Yeah, this one right.
Neat.
Yeah, it's
So
just,
that means so just on the audio after it, just put up a peak controller.
Peak controller. You're somewhere around here. All right.
And play it. All right. So this bit of information is important. What we're just seeing there, those lines there. When it goes to da 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 moment, you can see that it's pretty linear. You can see it just basically just show up like a line,
Yeah.
and that's great because that's what we want to use to just assign to stuff. If you can mess with the bass, the volume, the decay, and the tension, and all that to try and actually get the line to represent the actual width of the modulation range, which can help when you attach it to stuff to be in better control, or you can just try to like, I mean, what I normally do is I link it to a XYZ controller, so I can just do that with a graph because I hate this interface with a burning passion.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, you just assign it to stuff, and when I say stuff, I mean in the kind of like, imagine if FL, the entirety of FL is Serum right now, and we're just assigning an LFO just on things.
Okay.
And like the value of doing this is that when because this is essentially like the B part of what is the main element of this track, and that means that we already had this first bit that was nice and groovy and like melodical and cool, and now it's this like beat cutted focused time, and this has to essentially like it's not about like upping the wow factor as it is, just it has to have more impact, it has to have solo ability.
Gotcha.
And that comes with either just making it just way too interesting rhythmically, or just put a bigger hole in it. So whatever it's on top of, whatever thing it's around, have an element, like it could just be like a filter that's on it, like a peak filter that's not moving anything except for when this guy shows up, and now all of a sudden it's whop, 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 whenever it moves around.
Okay. Yeah.
And that'll really like carve this like motion of the thing into, and like, you know, save you from having to figure out from the note values and from the timing of just trying to do it manually. That's how I totally would have done it in the past, and it would have taken forever.
Okay, so I kind of get what you're saying. You're saying the rhythmic flow of how the sample goes, like da ba da ba da ba ba da 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 da, should affect all the other sounds with its rhythmicness of how it kind of plays, and kind of make everything kind of bend to its will.
Right. And
Okay.
in a way that ideally feels like it's happening as a consequence and not just happening next to it, which is what the peak controller is handy at, because it is
Gotcha.
just, it's only going to react to it doing things.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm trying to see, what do I have. I don't have a whole lot on here. I just have like it in a sub bass. And do you think that I should add more elements in there to make it more noticeable of it affecting
Yeah.
stuff? Okay, all right.
So this is exactly what I use ARPs for.
Ah,
It's like it's exactly just to be stuff to get beat up on,
gotcha.
and it's great because you can turn them down as low as you need to make them to not be overpowered or oppressive.
Yeah. I don't know if I
Yeah,
have it.
mess around with that for a second. I gotta go to the bathroom.
No worries. I'll try vital. Ah, what the hell? To value. uh,
All right, what's up?
okay, so I pulled up a patch and kind of modified it a little bit more to make a like RP sound. It's like a trance gatey ARP kind of thing, but I got this just for kind of like quick solution purposes. But
I just play whatever chord your stuff's playing.
oh, okay. Let's see. Let me make it not that. Then okay, I gotta actually figure out that chord.
I just like straight up copy the MIDI like of whatever.
Oh well, it's a
A bunch of crap.
yeah, cause it's just a granular. It's just a sample, so I'm not exactly sure what the chord is.
Good point.
But I can.
Me neither.
I am totally guessing right at it.
I mean, here's one of these examples of sort of stress and failure. Is
Yeah.
imagining that like some pro wouldn't have to do this, and like yeah, there's people who know how to be crazy musical writing people and like and whatnot, but most of people who do music are not that.
Yeah.
Most and I mean like of all the pro Grammy winner scale all the way up and down. Like music theory is not some universally acquired requirement. It is handy though.
Yeah, that's I need to learn some, but I've just been procrastinating.
I will say it's easier for a producer to learn music theory after having some producing experience because a lot of it will be putting names on stuff you already do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm probably sometime this year gonna like sit my ass down and figure this shit out. Like, I know I had very, very basic music theory. Somebody like try and teach it to me, just like major, minor chords or whatever, and like how the scale works and whatnot. But yeah, I really he's the person who was telling me about it. He was like, you'll be surprised how much you'll benefit from it. And I was like, I'm sure it would. Oh, I'll just stick with this for now.
Yeah, you just need to have a platform to mess with, so that you can like sonically find some parameter, and then you can like once you know how it's gonna feel, you can move notes around. That tends to be my strat.
Oh, okay.
I'll make the sound because it's kind of like, I imagine making a sound is a little bit like having a guitar, and you learn how you feel a guitar, how you like to play it, and then that forms the riffs, and then that's how you write stuff because you're comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
But only because you know what'll happen when you do, because you're familiar with it and you can.
Okay.
And making any individual sound is not quite like learning a guitar. It's like learning how to build a guitar. It's like trying to be like, wow, I have to know everything about it to know how I want to write with it. And so yeah, part of if you get a little bit lost about like the application, that happens. Is like, yeah, you want to actually finish making the sound.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know. There's a guy in my channel. He's showed up a time or two. His name's Tetra. I think I may have talked to him, found him on your channel and your Discord, but he was saying basically the same sentiment. Yo, what's up, Norm? The same sentiment as you had. He said middle section in that change up thing could use something. He goes, not sure what. He goes, the main starting groove is dope though. So yeah, kind of the same thing you're saying is that like middle part could use something kind of something, yeah, hooky to keep it interesting. So let's see.
Yeah. So it is 1 o'clock, and I do have to go.
Okay, no worries, man. I will see you next week.
Right on.
All right, later, man.
Have a good rest of your day.
All right, man. Take it easy. Well, I guess I'll just keep working on this project here. What's good? Tetra, Wraith, Norm, 1-1. I have no skills when it comes to the music theory and close to no skills in Nelly. Then you're not far off from me. Let's see. 1-1. Yeah, man. Like, I'm pretty much just like self-taught. I basically don't know what I'm doing and just kind of play around until I think I come up with something I like. But yeah, it's just improvising the entire time, sort of. Oh my gosh, it's hot in this motherfucker. So yeah, Norm, I was gonna say, man, this weekend I'm gonna start working on self-taught for sure. I mean, I think most people are. That's what kind of how we got in this arena. But I'm gonna be working on some of those organic house stuff, samples and whatnot. I'm gonna start that today and this weekend, so we'll get to cracking on that and come out with some cool samples and loops and all that good stuff for the organic house. Tetra, man, I don't know if you're still here. That tune I sent you has been picked up by a label, hopefully be a part as an EP. Oh man, that's what's up, dude. Nice. Hell yeah, for sure. Tetra, I'm not sure if you're in here. I think I saw you it's been a while since I've seen you, man, but you had submitted some like sick like dubstep future bass kind of music back in the day. Yeah, I think you were doing drum and bass. You're doing like more like modern drum and bass production. So cool. I'll start after I finish mixing that new tune. Sweet, man. No rush on it. I've got like 50 million things like I'm trying to do, but yeah, definitely I think it'd be cool to put out some kind of like neat sample pack. So yeah. Anyway, y'all, thanks for coming through. I spent like the first part of this podcast just talking about nonsense. So I finally got to the music, but I'm gonna work on this thing and try and see what I can crank out. So, yo, Tetra, I guess you're not here, but man, I'd like to like see like your production, man, because like your production is off the chart. I think you use FL Studio too or something, man. Gotta like link up one day and do a podcast or something. And same for everyone else in here. Anyway, I'm gonna chop out. It's time for me to go to the gym. So